ACTV News. The flu and its devastating effects for students, teachers, and families at the school. What does it mean, and find out how some are trying to combat it. And the minimum wage has been increased to $14 an hour. Will it give more disposable income to students? See what people are saying about Bill 188. And end of the year stress is coming to students. See what one student does to cope with it all. Plus, the latest events going on in Algonquin, and Randy Dash gives his opinion on all things Algonquin. This is ACTV News. Welcome to our viewers in Algonquin and around Ottawa. From a runny nose to a cough and a fever, this year's flu is on track to be one of the most severe. Even with an early vaccine that was available, experts warned that it could not prevent the flu and its symptoms entirely. Now, some of you may be wondering, is this the worst flu season since the notorious H1N1 in 2009? Well, worse can be deceiving, but some experts warn it could be a close second, given the length and severity of the strain. But while it's true that this is a particularly nasty one, you should absolutely be taking precautions. And we're not yet at historic levels. In 2008, we're seeing more of the H3N2 than any other strain. And this year is what the dominant strain tends to be, and that's worse. Just like during the horrible 2014-15 season, which saw an estimated 34 million people come down with the flu. This is compounded by the fact that most colleges are particularly susceptible to the flu. Here's Andrew with more.
The common cold, the flu, they're breaking off into newer and stronger strains. What are Algonquin students doing to protect themselves?
I'm actually a registered nurse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's mandatory for me to do a flu shot and everything. So I was very sick last December, and I had the flu shot.
Okay.
And it was horrible.
One in a couple of days for just my program purposes. So I haven't done it yet.
I have not gotten my flu shot this year. I opted not to.
Students and teachers aren't too worried about germs, and this is what they're doing to combat the threat of sickness.
Okay, just stay healthy, drink water, eat lots of vegetables and fruits, and then just live life and be happy.
It's absolutely wash your hands before you eat, and after, and sleep, rest for your immunity. Yeah, eat good food, yeah.
Well, I'd like to say if you don't have the flu and you're healthy, get outside, enjoy the weather. One of the great things about being in Ottawa is the canal. It's a great season for it. The Winterlute's just started, so take advantage of the outside because you get your vitamin D and it's good for the soul.
Everyone seems to agree on simple yet effective approaches to staying well. With a positive attitude, we'll survive this winter season. Andrew Johnson, ACTV News.
I could definitely identify with that. Now, Bill 148, which raises the minimum wage to $14 an hour and provides other benefits for workers, is having mixed results with students. On one hand, the bill would give money in the pockets of students who desperately need cash for rent and such. But on the other hand, experts warn that the students actually may find it harder to find part-time work. The Fair Workplaces Better Jobs Act of 2007 makes various amendments to a previous act that affects employees and employers. Ontario's economy, and like others around the world, has changed. Work is different and for many people increasingly less secure. Many workers struggle to support their families on part-time contract or minimum wage work, and many more don't have access to off-due illness. For example, it will be mandatory for employers to pay casual, part-time, temporary, and seasonal employers who are doing substantially the same work as full-time permanent employees, the same rate, and pay full-time permanent employees. Given the inability for students to work long hours in high-paying jobs while they continue to pay a tuition, a change in minimum wage may have an exaggerated effect on students who still mostly work in the jobs sector. It is now costlier for the employer to hire students part-time. Some who already have part-time are noticing a reduction in hours. ATV's Ryan talks to students to see how Bill 184 is really going.
Algonquin's $45 million project offers a new learning and entrepreneurship center built on top of the campus's old C building. It is said that the center will improve student experience and inspire them to pursue innovation. But with the overwhelmingly large amount of the college's money invested into the new building, will the outcome be worth the dollars? Construction began late September of 2016 and has been the cause of multiple detours around the college's campus since then. One of the major expansions that the C building will offer is the much-needed addition to Algonquin's library, which is currently one of the smallest in the province. Algonquin's new space will be a place for discovery, innovation, entrepreneurship, imagination, and will offer a hands-on hub for new technology such as virtual reality. While the school thinks building a new infrastructure right here is a good idea, some students think otherwise.
I don't believe that it's worth the money that we're spending because we could spend it on other better things, but it'd be nice to have a better library.
I'm not sure if it was a great idea. I feel like we could have just bought like 20 portables and just like stacked them on top of each other. It would have been just as good.
I don't like it. There's so many other things you could have spent that money on. It's like you didn't have to spend $20 million on just one building.
Scheduled for completion in spring 2018, we're all eager and looking forward to see if Algonquin's biggest project is worth the wait and worth the money. For ACTV, I'm Ryan Knowles.
So that was a great piece about the new building. Unfortunately, it was not the piece about Bill 148, but Bill 148 is affecting students very much, and we'll have more about that later on in tomorrow's segment. All right, now let's delve a bit deeper into Algonquin's upcoming events from the Algonquin Insiders. From sports to gaming, yoga to concerts, Algonquin is well known for putting on great events. And in studio, I have Chad Hogue, and he has the latest scoop on what's going on at Algonquin. So what are some big events, Chad, that are going on in Algonquin?
Well, some Canadian royalty rock bands are coming to Algonquin on Monday, April 16th at 8:30 p.m. And these bands are I'm of Earth and Finger 11. And so before the show, we're going to have a little acoustic set with a Q&A at 7:30. But if you're a fan of 90s and early 2000s rock music, this is one of those concerts you just got to go see. And then the day after that, April 17th at 8 o'clock p.m., there's 3 bands that are going head-to-head for a prize of $5,000 at Rebels Real Rock Search Finals here at Algonquin.
And they're available for everyone?
Yeah, the tickets are only $5 and anyone can go.
Any events that I must go to this year?
Of the events this year...
Other than the 2 you just mentioned?
I would say those are pretty much the only 2 you really got to go see because everybody remembers songs like Paralyzed or Levitate, One More Thing, One More Astronaut. So going to be a bunch of great shows.
And they're still popular bands?
They were back in the day, like in the 90s and early 2000s, but then as with most bands these days, they kind of died off slowly. But they're still making music. I'm Love Earth actually has an album on the way, which is kind of neat. So.
Okay, so, and are the events, did you actually go to any events yet, or no?
They haven't happened yet. I'm going to I'm of Earth and Finger 11 on Monday.
Well,
I can't wait for the show. It's going to be such an exciting experience. Nice. Seeing bands I used to see on MTV just performing.
Okay, great. Thanks to Algonquin Insider Chad for keeping us up to date with the latest events going on in the college. Now, Randy Dash is a seasoned teacher at Algonquin at the television programming. His opinions are well respected by students and fellow teachers. We had a chance to speak with Randy Dash all about things Algonquin.
Remember these details.
Professor Randy Dash is bringing education to new heights.
Does he
Remember, in the spring, plant your corn early.
I've been teaching for 20 years, and 17 of those full-time. And I teach
what have I been saying, Thomas?
Motion graphics, all that kind of stuff.
And enjoys seeing the fruits of his labor.
I really enjoy seeing people that come in with knowing very little, all of a sudden are doing a lot of great production, post-production work, and they turn out to be amazing at what they do. Every time I see this, I go, wow, who'd have thought that?
And applies just a dash of passion and humor.
Last year, I was so stressed coming to school and worrying about assignments, and Randy's class was the one class that I would look forward to each week because he just made me smile with all of his jokes.
Show you an old Army trick here.
It's funny because him saying old Army tricks has rubbed off on me now, so whenever I'm helping someone, I'll say, all right, let me show you an old Army trick, and then they'll call me out saying, just like Randy, and, you know, so they're really helpful. Like, they're very helpful tips and tricks and help, like I said, they help make the edit cleaner.
And making students' educational journey enjoyable.
in seeing the students that really get into a certain thing. And if that's my zone, it's great because then we can move on from that. And it happens every year.
Well said, Randy. It's no secret that the pressures of work, final exams, and projects puts added stress on students, especially near the end of the school year. Many students find it difficult to cope mentally and need extra support. High levels of chronic stress can affect decision-making, creating impulsivity, increase our likelihood of making mistakes, cause us to ignore cues, interfere with personal relationships, and lower productivity. Sometimes it's just not getting enough sleep or overworking that causes us to shut down. But how can we fight this and get students back working in a more stress-free zone? Well, Andrew finds out.
Time is crunched for Algonquin students heading into finals. They've been working hard to make up for lost time since the 5-week strike of last year. After their holiday break, studies resumed into second semester, and no one would have thought the impact would last this long.
The biggest thing for me is with the strike, it impacted my placement. So now I have to make up all the hours that I missed because I wasn't allowed to be at placement during the strike. So that's been a really stressful thing for me, is trying to get all my hours in.
I am feeling stressed right now. So in our program, we have 9 courses currently. So it's a lot of work, but I did see there was an email that was sent out about them changing the structure a bit for September, where they're going to be looking at adding a reading week. How they're going to manage doing that moving forward, I don't know.
With thousands of students having various experiences with stress management, the college is trying to help release the pressure. Some find faculty is satisfying their requests, others think faculty can be doing more. Due to the strike, the college has future plans to ease the workload.
One of the big priorities of the Students Association this year was to implement a reading week in every single semester. We just found out, starting in the 2019-2020 calendar, that President Jensen has approved that request, finally getting the fall reading week that the Algonquin SA and that students have been asking for so many years now.
Stress or beliefs about how it affects people won't be the end of the world. Undoubtedly, there will be a call for celebration once the completion of stacking assignments and testing arrives. Whether or not students put forth their best work this year is yet to be determined, but they will be pushing through till the end of April. Andrew Johnson, ACTV News.
Thanks, Andrew. So I'm now joined again by Chad to delve deeper into this. So we all know about stress, that student stress is commonly talked about, but how real is this problem, and what can we do all to fix it?
To fix it, all we need to do is just confide in others, like our friends and family, and just work together more to help out and fix the situation.
Okay, and what can be done to combat the daily stress that students go through?
I feel the only way to combat stress and stay positive is just by trying to keep a positive mindset, and then when you're feeling down, tell people what you're feeling, because that's the best way to get what you're feeling out there, right? Or through art.
Does it seem that Algonquin is more stressful than any other colleges, or for the most part, is it all the same around this nation?
I would say Algonquin is not the most stressful, because anywhere you work or do learning, that's going to be the most stressful place you're at, besides maybe a funeral or a hospital. But any places like that, they're all as stressful as each other, but in different ways, kind of.
And what are some misconceptions about stress? We always hear about stress, but what are some misconceptions about stress?
Well, some people believe that stress is caused by a lack of initiatives or responsibility for your own actions, or because of procrastination, which some of that can contribute, but it's not exactly the real reason.
Okay, so stress is obviously very big deal here. At Algonquin, we have lots of supports for students, and obviously that's very important for students going through stress. So thank you. That is our newscast for tonight. Thank you for all of us at ACTV News. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.